Welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I'm Katie, and I'm joined by Bonnie, Leah, and Rebecca talking about our one cool thing. Bonnie already talked about Dusty Springfield, but before we dive back in, let's get to know something random about our gal pals. I would like to know, because it's Music Month, what's the one song that is certain to change your mood? Could be good, bad, sad, anything.
All of it at the same
Yeah,
time.
all of it at the same time. That's the best, right?
That's a good song. If
Right?
it's all of it at the same time.
So I'm ready. If
Oh, then
everybody
please
needs
go.
to.
Please go. Buy me some time.
Okay, so in the last one, I think I mentioned that I had like a milestone birthday coming up. So
Yes.
I recently heard on the radio, it's called What's Up, but it's really the What's Going On
Yes.
Four Non-Blondes
The Four
song.
Non-Blondes song. Oh,
And
good
it came
song.
on the radio, and I just started like singing along. And I had like all the feelings came back from high school in the 90s. Like
Yes.
the good, the bad, the ugly. And it was one of those nights where it was like one of the first nights we had where it was like kind of nice outside. I had the windows down, just driving by myself.
Right, exactly.
And it was like the road I always take to go home from wherever I was, whatever side, so it wasn't that far from my house. It was like a road I always take. And so I didn't have to like think too hard about where I was.
Yeah.
Right.
Where I was going. So yeah, I was thinking like, oh, I should do this as like live karaoke, but like sing my real age instead of the 25 years. But sing
Yeah.
what I really am. So, yeah, that's my song.
Do you guys have seasonal songs you have to listen to? Once a summer, I have to listen to the Escape song. That's like my start of summer kickoff song.
What's the Escape song?
The
Remind me.
Pina Colada song.
Oh, yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
yeah.
like
Okay, yeah, there we
pina
go.
coladas?
I'm like, I have a feeling I know the song, but not by the name. Yes,
Yeah.
there you go. And then
yeah,
it's like the start
first
of summer
kind of
for
warm
you.
day, I'm like, I need it. I don't listen to it too often, but it's like my summer kickoff song.
I have
don't know.
mood songs,
Yeah.
and I feel like that can be seasonal as well. But yeah, like the
Mhm.
super happy days and the super sad days and the angry days. I will say the angry days are Rage Against the Machine, just in case if anybody was wondering. That speaks to my soul of the Rage Against the Machine.
So if you start posting lyrics on your like social media, we should be like,
I know.
okay,
It's
maybe I
usually
should-
a warning.
let's
Is
do
what it
a
is.
check-in.
Right,
check-in.
exactly. Yes. Is she listening to a happy song or a sad song today?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's usually like a really, really good warning. So, okay, I'm still thinking in mind, hey, Katie, your body is going.
I'm always a sucker for Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks, the Break the Chain.
Oh,
Like,
see.
I'm always like, I want to punch somebody.
Right.
After that. But that's why I love it. Like, anything Meghan Trainor always puts me in a
Sweet.
good mood, especially the one that she did for the Peanuts movie, the Feel Like Dancing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was her.
Oh, it was so cute.
I forgot she did that one.
It makes you want to dance.
So you have
Right.
like your happy mood songs and then your kick some ass song.
It's pretty much happy and like post-breakup songs.
Right.
Like Alanis
Mhm.
Morissette and like the nails down someone else's back.
Exactly.
You're like, ah.
I hope you feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm trying to think of mine. And I have like probably 7 different ones that are going through my head.
Yeah, it's hard to pick just one
I
song.
know it is, and
Especially
that's the
during
thing.
music months, where we're all like been thinking about our
Right.
music people we want to talk about,
And it's
our-
totally fine. Like if the song that I picked today is not the song that I would pick tomorrow, it's like totally
Right.
good, like momentary sort of thing. But a song that's certain to like change my mood. I'm just gonna. It was the first one that popped into my head. It's "Sweet Caroline" by Neil Diamond. Now,
Love it.
The stupid, like, yes, exactly. Anytime the song goes, it's like, and we're turning it up, and this is where we
Yeah.
are right now. It was between that and American Pie, honestly. Those are the two
Oh.
songs that are like, if they're on the radio, and I have arrived at my destination, screw that. I am parking, I am listening to the end of the song, and that is just the way it's going to be. The kids know this, by the way. But Sweet Caroline, it's like, I kind of like the song. I knew every single word of Sweet Caroline. It was like an easy karaoke song. And then it was in a movie called Beautiful Girls. It's a very obscure
Oh,
indie movie.
yeah.
Did you see Beautiful Girls?
Yeah,
Uma
yeah.
Thurman is in it.
90s
Yes.
indie movie.
I met the screenwriter.
Or
That's the
sort
only
of
reason
indie,
why I
yeah.
really embraced
Oh.
this movie. So I met the screenwriter at UCLA. He was doing they brought 3 screenwriters in to teach us about screenwriting. novel concept. And it was Scott Rosenberg was his name, and he wrote that script, and he was talking about the construction of it. And one of the things he talked about is he wrote in Sweet Caroline. And the rules for screenwriters is you do not add a song because licensing, and you might not get it.
Yeah.
But the song was reflecting the mood and the moment of the time and what the characters were going through.
Is it set in Boston?
It's in Boston. Yeah, exactly. And they're in a bar. And so he wanted Sweet Caroline, and they're like, yeah, we're, once it was in green light, they're like, we're not going to use that song. There's plenty of other songs that people will go and sing along to. He goes, let me prove it to you. So they go across the street to a bar, and he's like, he puts on the jukebox, Sweet Caroline, and the entire bar starts singing Sweet Caroline. It's like, it's the song that gets everybody to sing along. It just is that song. So, like, whether it's a baseball game, whether or not it's a bar, whether or not it's my freaking car and I'm all by myself, like, Sweet Caroline will change my... And I feel like everybody's singing it with me. It's really, really... And I think it's just because I've sang it with lots of people at the same time. So that's why I will go with Sweet Caroline.
I feel like that's how we need to end this month. We all karaoke some Sweet Caroline during the news segment.
I don't think
got
we need
this.
to deafen people, Katie. No. I don't think we need to explain our tone deafness.
Well, I was thinking as you talked about how songs can mean such different things to people. And of course it relates to where you were in your life when you heard it, what you associate it with. Yeah. And you said American Pie, which is an amazing song.
Yes, it's long, but it's good.
And it's long.
Yes, it is.
Because I used to work at like an old-fashioned soda fountain type place, like a grill and soda fountain, and they had a jukebox.
Yeah.
And people would play that song constantly.
I'm sorry on their behalf.
So I have a little...
I don't know if there's a short version.
No. You can't cut that.
No, I don't know.
Gotta get all that goodness in there.
I didn't know it was long until in college. I was at a frat party and like they started singing it, and it was like at a different school and a different campus and everything, and they were singing it. And I was like, okay, this is fun. And
Keeps going.
And then it just kept going. And I was like,
it's like 8 minutes song.
Oh, there's
or 6.
more. Okay. I guess we'll just rally and enjoy the next however many verses.
Right.
Cool.
You just hunker in on that song.
I would, you guys kind of went with slightly older songs.
Yeah.
And I thought that's where I'd be at too, because I love oldies and that's what I grew up on. But the song I picked for this is Florence and the Machine, Shake It Out.
God, that's a good song.
That's like, I don't know, it's my, I need to collect myself.
Before you wreck
yourself.
yourself.
Myself.
Yes.
And I tend to like just really put myself out there a lot, and it's about kind of withdrawing and giving yourself that dignity back.
Right.
So that's where what I get from it.
That is a good song. That is on my iTunes. I have a female empowerment mix that I have on there. And I got some Florence and the Machine on there. Yes, I like that one song. Sweet. All right. Well, it's time for my one cool thing. And for the love of Pete, mine is completely different from the song I just talked about. Or all of us talked about, actually. Well, last year, Gal's Guide made a gal-powered playlist. And it has 31 songs on it. Each one of them basically a day for the month. So 31 days of the month, where you can listen to a woman sing an empowering or motivating song and kind of like get you in the spirit sort of thing. Well, the last song that was on that list, Rick rolled everybody, and in more ways than one, actually. So it starts off with this amazing blonde. She's in a sequins blue dress and she's playing a trumpet. And the song starts to kind of sound familiar a little bit, like a song we've maybe heard on the internet one too many times. And then she starts singing, and she sings, "Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna Let You Down." And you're like, yeah, no, I know this song, right? But it's her voice. It's unique. It's not from here. It's not from the United States. You can definitely tell. But also her voice, it's unique. It's breathy. Like, you can tell it's live. Like, she is not, sitting in a studio and she's lip singing. She's live. You can hear every breath that she is taking. And she's jazzy. That's the other thing. She's got like such this jazzy persona and sound in her voice too. Oh, and did I mention she also kind of like tap dancing, like jazz dancing the entire time she's rickrolling everybody? Yes, exactly. But so she picks up a flute and she starts playing the chorus. Then she picks up a trombone, and then she walks off while the band keeps playing. Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna Let You Down. She comes back with bagpipes. It is the craziest and awesomest thing ever. And at the end, she says, "That's jazz." So I had the gals with me watch the video before we started of Gunhild Carling, the Swedish jazz singer. What did you guys think of this crazy lady?
Crazy lady.
Crazy lady. There you go. First impressions.
Well, and like I said, I'd seen her before, and
Yeah.
she showed up in some other YouTube channels I watched, and I didn't know if it was Postmodern Jukebox. I didn't know if it was like Weimar era random stuff.
Right.
I find we were talking about Marlene Dietrich the other day.
Yes.
So that's something that kind of shows up. So I don't know if it's because she's international.
I think because she's a great cross-pollinator. You know what I mean? She's
like
in a
the
lot of
mix
things.
of stuff that she does. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like it. I wish I could remember what I saw her in, because it definitely wasn't what you showed us, but I wish I could remember what it was.
Yeah. But you kind of like knew her right away. Like, I've seen this crazy lady before.
I don't think I've seen a lot of like blonde Swedish women play multiple instruments.
Right.
And
It's
then
unique.
Go into whatever they're going into, and it's it was like I'm pretty sure it was a popular song or something familiar enough that I was like, oh, this song. Okay.
Right. Exactly. Katie, have you seen or heard of her before?
I hadn't, and it was amazing. So I'm like stumbling over my words because I want to say my first thought was just jealousy, because I've always wanted to have musical instrument talent, and it's not something I have. So that's incredible that she plays that many instruments.
I want the mermaid dress. I want the sequins mermaid dress is what I want. I love that dress.
Right?
Sweet. Well, do you guys want to know more about Gunhild Carling?
Yeah,
absolutely.
My goodness. So this gal she is Swedish born. And she's touring right now. So this is a current gal that is in our lexicon. She was brought up in a musical family where all the kids were variety artists. So they all played lots of instruments. They all learned to sing. They all learned to dance. A lot of them variety of different dances, tap dances and jazz dances and waltz dances and all that kind of good stuff. She still tours with the Carling family, which now includes her own 2 kids.
No.
So, yeah, it kind of like keeps the tradition going a little bit. So she loves jazz and she loves improv, and she's like a master at both of them. She has a TED Talk, believe it or not. It's a fantastic TED Talk. It took place in Norway. And it showcases her jazz knowledge and also how to make music in the here and now. That's basically what she calls jazz. It's like here and now. And that's why it's very improvisational. So as she's kind of doing this TED Talk, she's like, okay, so I'm going to explain a jazz master, and then I'm going to compose a song for you right here, right now, that I've never played before, to lyrically and musically explain it to you. So in that TED Talk, you get a sense also of her energy. She has a lot of energy, even when she's just kind of like talking about music. And you can tell in the TED Talk, the crowd is not ready for her. Like, a lot of times TED Talks are really like sad, or, you know what I mean? They're ready for the information. And so they're not ready for like, hi, how you doing? I'm going to talk about jazz. Like it's a lot of energy. So, cause believe it or not, people are not always ready for my energy as well. So like, I very much relate.
Aww.
It's like, I mean, I've even had people say like, hey, what do you do? And I start talking. They're like, so you have a lot of energy. Hold on a second. Like they're catching up. And I'll be like, it's okay. I understand. So when I first saw her, and I'm like, I feel a kinship with you. I totally get this. But she, just hopefully like I do, won them over at the TED Talk. And it was because she's passionate. That's the thing. She's just like really passionate about the thing that she talks about. Not everybody loves jazz and trombone. You know what I mean? And it's a TED Talk, for crying out loud. So there's even fewer people that are like, tell me about the jazz age and the trombone. Because of her passion, she wins them over, because I really think at the end of the day, we're all passionate about something. Even if we don't know how to show it, even if we're not as open as like me or Gunhild, if we struggle a little bit on showing our passion, we can still kind of like relate to it, sort of thing. So, but she has won jazz awards. She has won scholarships. The Kobe Jazz Street Award she won. The Anita O'Day Award. She won a Louis Armstrong Scholarship, which she was super proud of because, of course, it was Louis Armstrong. So she's like, oh, a jazz legend. She also won basically like a key to the city. It's in another language. To Oslo, Sweden. So it's like that mayor for a day kind of scenario. And it's like, yes. She was also named the Skane Flag Person of the Year in 2014. Again, this is a Swedish thing and a Scandinavian thing. It sounded like it was a really big deal. So I was like, yay! But I think she's like flippin' amazing. And I had a friend in high school named Matt, and he gave me a mixtape. Remember when like mixtapes were like a thing? And he gave it to me, and he said, you can never be sad when you listen to the Ramones. And so it wasn't all Ramones, but it was a lot of Ramones. Like, it started and ended with the Ramones. I always make sure that I tell my daughters when a Ramones song comes on that you can never be sad when you listen to the Ramones. Especially I Want to Be Sedated. I'm just saying, because that's always a good one. So a lot of times, because of him kind of showing me different music affects different moods, when I heard Gunhild, I was like going, oh, you know what? She's got that same Ramones factor. I can't feel sad when I listen to her music. You know what I mean? Her energy is just so happy. And actually, speaking of which, she did a cover of Pharrell Williams' Happy song as well. She played 10 instruments during Happy. It was beyond like amazing. She was also tap dancing at the same time while she was doing Happy. To say she brings like an extra something to a performance is probably an understatement. So yes,
it's incredible.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot, and I appreciate a lot.
I think when I was younger too, I just assumed that I would hear a story like this and I'm like, that person just is naturally talented, and it sounds like that's what you're describing, but I am certain she worked her ass off.
She really did.
To learn how to do all of that.
And she had a great education in a variety of different things and decided, you know what? I'm going to use all these things. Sometimes we pick and choose. Like, okay, I've learned all these instruments, but I shall master the guitar because the guitar is what most musicians use. She's like, screw that. I'm going to play every wind instrument that there is.
Can't hold her back.
Exactly, right? Ironically, she didn't cover that song, but she covered Happy as well as Never Gonna Give You Up, and it was part of Postmodern Jukebox. So PMJ is another way that kind of the people have heard about it. They have a YouTube channel. They actually have albums. They have tour dates that they go on. But Postmodern Jukebox, some people know of it as the Sad Clown. What's his name again? What's the Sad Clown's name?
Puddle's Pity Party.
Puddle's Pity Party. I love it. He sings remarkably happy songs, but very sadly, and he's in full like French clown, and it's just like, you're feeling so many different things as you watch it, basically. But what Postmodern Jukebox does is they take modern songs, and we're still talking like 80s, 90s, and today, and they put them in something else. They usually were a swinging, jazzy, kind of like 40s sound. But they've even done, what was it? Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. They did it as a Tina Turner, like a Tina Turner and Ike kind of like showcase sort of thing. So it sounds very much like Proud Mary Keep on Turnin', but it's Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. It's like, it blows your mind of a mix match of all these different things.
See, I'm more of a Queen purist than you are, I guess.
There you go, yes.
I don't think I could watch that with a straight face.
There are some that I'm
sure
like,
it's
no.
Great. I'm sure it's well done. I'm sure people like it.
Right, exactly. You're like, that's not Freddie.
I'm just going to watch Freddie do Don't Stop Me Now.
That is totally fair. And there are some that are songs that I'm like nice try, no.
There are some artists where I'm like, that's why some people like love Postmodern Jukebox. And I like some of their stuff, but some of it I'm like, that takes them too far for me.
Right.
But that's, I say for me, because I know everybody has their own preferences.
Because if you have a personal attachment to the particular song, you don't want it changed. Like, I don't even like it sometimes when an artist will do a new version of their song. I'm like, don't mess up your own song.
Even if it's their own. Right. It's like,
when you hear like the live version of the song that you've heard like on the album before, and you're like, that's not quite right.
You hear it in concert, and you're like, no.
Why did you slow it down? Are you tired?
But sometimes it's really good if they do that. So
yeah, exactly. Sometimes the live version is better. But I mean, to me, very few times sort of thing. But yeah. But the 5 songs that Gunhild has done with Postmodern Jukebox is Happy, the one with 10 instruments, Never Gonna Give You Up. She did Material Girl by Madonna. She did Final Countdown, which, because she can showcase the trumpet, or the trombone, I think, in that one, really, really well. And she also did Dancing Queen, ABBA's Dancing Queen. So it's just like, oh, those are awesome. So those are the ones she has that are specifically Postmodern Jukebox.
Did she tour with them or just record?
I'm not sure. Okay. I thought I heard that she would, but I know she also tours on her own.
She does like a lot of stuff like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So there had to be some. Also, Postmodern Jukebox has been around for a good long time. So if she did, I know this recent tour she went on that came to town, she was not on it, and that was going to be what convinced me to get a ticket.
That was that bump you needed.
Because I'm like, I don't really have the money. It was December, so I'm like, I don't really have the money.
Yeah, it was pretty recent.
I don't really want to go out.
Went.
Yeah, and then I'm like, but if she's on the ticket, I'll go, and she was not. So I'm like, fine, that's just a sign that I saved my money for now.
And then you're like, YouTube is great.
Exactly. I'll just listen to that. So yeah, I mean, another reason why I really love her is like I was actually in this the first like phase of music that I got into was like a punk phase, and I was in high school, and that was the Ramones thing that my friend Matt, I blame Matt for my punk phase. I really do. No, I love my punk phase. But after my punk phase, I went into a swing phase, and it actually like lasted like 6 years, so it's like a really long musical phase.
That was like a big thing in the like 90s.
That's when it was.
It was kind of coming back.
I could find
and,
it.
Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yes,
and, like,
exactly. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I was at my probably prime time knowledge of like swing and jazz when Swingers came out, the Jon Favreau movie, and the soundtrack was like the best. And I'm like, I knew all the songs that they were talking about. I went to the Derby already before that movie came out because I was living in LA. And I'm like, I know this life.
Did you do like the swing dancing stuff?
So
Did you
funny
take it
story.
That far? I was like really big around that time. And it's still kind of big in some places.
Exactly. So I really wanted to swing dance, but here's the thing: you need a partner, and my husband has 2 left feet, and we got videotape so we could learn how to swing dance in private, so we didn't hurt nobody or anything, and it didn't work. It was a struggle. It was a lovely, lovely struggle where we just thought, you know what? Not everybody's good at everything.
But see, you tried. That's like more than like, because I kept saying, like, I have friends that do it, or they used to. I don't know. They've had a kid in the meantime, so I don't know if they're still doing it. But they did like ballroom dancing, and they do the swing dancing at Fountain Square every month or whenever they were doing it. I think they still have something there.
Yes.
And I was just like kind of jealous.
It's so fun.
Yeah, like at the time I was single, so yeah, I didn't. And they're like, "Oh,
you need a partner." Yeah,
you can come, you'll get a partner. And I'm thinking, like, no,
because you got to choreograph. Like, who's flipping? Like, and where's your comfort level? You don't just like
an
rock
introvert
it
when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I don't know that I would just be willing to dance with whoever wanted. And there's usually like some kind of token creepy old man.
Of course, there is. That's usually the one that's waiting for the one girl who wants to just try this out. What else does she want to try on? Oh, no, creeper guy.
Right, so I didn't want to go.
Exactly. That's why you have a partner. You practice that crap at home. You mess up, you fall on the floor,
or
and then
you just go
work it
have
out.
a drink and watch everybody else dance.
Which is what I did.
Okay, fair enough.
And I love that like so much. But like my jazz phase and the swing phase, it like always comes back. And partly it's one of the reasons why Captain America is my favorite, because all the music in Marvel and Captain America is all like 40s, and it's like, yes, this is my jam. I know these songs. I am that person. But it always comes back. So when I discovered Postmodern Jukebox kind of late, but it was a great mix of like bridging the different, musicalities that I was interested in. I just thought it was so like freaking fabulous. So like, long story short, fast forward to, we got to pick our one cool thing for Music Month. My God. So I'm going through and I'm like, okay, so, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, I'm like going through all of these awesome ladies. I'm even going like, okay, but like Madonna was heavily influenced when I was a little one. I love Patti Smith from the punk era, Joan Baez, just because it's every joke that I always make about, really? Joan Baez is every joke I always make because of Forrest Gump, where it's like, I want to be a folk singer like Joan Baez. Yeah, I always make that joke. So as I'm trying to like decide, I gotta figure out my one cool thing, a commercial comes on the TV for America's Got Talent, and it's Gunhild Carling is featured for like half a second playing 3 trumpets at one time, and I'm like, I start screaming because I know who she is, and I'm like so excited. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to be on the show in some way, shape, or form. I have no idea how. She's going to get more exposure. And then it kind of clicked. I'm like, isn't that what our one cool thing is all about? You know, it's more exposure for something that we find, you know, really, really cool. So I figured, hey, you know, I love her. I want more people to like know about her, or if nothing else, to go from, oh, that crazy Swedish lady who sings jazz to her name is Gunhild. Even if it's just like one step to be like, okay, I know a little bit about her. So yeah, because she just like, you know, makes me happy. She's also, she's very big in Sweden. She actually played for the King of Sweden for his birthday. She also played for the King of Sweden on his Jubilee as well. So I thought that was pretty damn cool, and I figured I would bring that to the table. So I figured my question I would have for you is, have you ever been won over by somebody simply because they were so damn passionate about what they did? And it doesn't have to be music, you know what I mean? Has anyone ever kind of like, it could be a painter or like a YouTuber or a scientist, you know, like even a teacher or a writer. They're just so passionate about what they do. You're like going, I would never do that. I'm not interested in that, but damn, I love your passion.
Yeah, I had, growing up a teenager, being a little art student, reading all the Vincent van Gogh stuff.
Yes.
It's just like, I would be your buddy, Vincent.
Don't be sad, you've got me.
He was constantly like, he lived and like once he, you know, he was going to be a preacher first.
Yeah.
But then he turned to painting, and he just like lived and breathed painting all day long.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah.
See, that passion won you over. You're like, I get that. I want that.
Do we know, like, how many, is there a final count of how many instruments she knows how to play?
Her IMDb lists the 10 that she plays on Happy plus the harp. So 11. Hey, that's one louder. Sorry, that's a Spinal Tap reference.
But is she like...
She probably knows more. That's just what's listed on, actually, Wikipedia. That's what's listed, is the 11.
I wonder if she has the thing where she's like practiced all the things, or she's so intuitive with music that she can just pick up a thing and fiddle with it for a couple minutes and know how to play it.
Right.
Or what?
You do wonder, I think it's, part of it is that she plays a lot of wind instruments. So wind instrument is having the lung capacity, and then, you know, basically the scale of the notes is going to be approximate of the same sort of thing. But because she grew up in a family band, I have a feeling there was just a lot of instruments laying around, and you just play, and you just start tinkering, and you see what sound it makes, and you watch other people play it, and you pick it up, and you're like, that sounds fun. But I've never seen her, besides a harp, pick up a stringed instrument like a banjo or a guitar. But you know what? I'm not ready to call it that she can't play it, because I'm sure I am one video away from seeing her pick up a stringed instrument. Or drums of some nature sort of thing. But I don't know. I can't really play an instrument, but I kind of feel like if you've got a musicality in you, it just kind of, you know, branches out sort of thing. So yeah, did you guys have any like musical phases that you went through? We were like distinctly listening to one particular thing at once.
Yeah. I mean, I had the other day, I was out at karaoke with people I had just met, and they're like, what kind of music do you like? And I had no idea how to answer the question.
Right. Do you like music?
I like every, because there's so many different, like I think I just settled on like 90s something. I don't.
There you go.
It wasn't like 90s hip hop or 90s anything in particular. I just was like, I like music from the 90s. Or later, I'm like, that's so lame. Like, why didn't I think of something?
No, that's fine.
Like, I could have just been like, oh, here's my song list on my phone. These are my downloaded songs that I listen to all the time.
You define me. I don't need to define me.
Yeah. I mean, I think like for me, maybe kind of like you were talking about, like you had a punk phase. I think I had a goth phase, but I don't want to call it a phase.
Right.
I still listen to a lot of the
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah.
And if anything, I've probably taken like a deeper dive now that we have like digital, like all this access to digital music where you don't have to like buy a CD or record, which I also still buy CDs and records, or not CDs, but I do buy records, but I don't, which I know sounds super pretentious, but
I still buy CDs and records and download music.
Yeah, like I'm doing all of it. You can't find on downloads anymore. So.
Or sometimes I find a deal and I'm like, I still have a CD player. So
but with YouTube and like Amazon Music or iTunes or whatever your platform is that you Spotify or whatever, there's always, or Pandora, there's always something. Like actually, the person I'm going to talk about when we get to her, like I'm pretty sure I discovered her through Pandora because of like other, I don't even know what exact music got me to her, but it might have been through like a goth related.
You just start somewhere, and with your likes and dislikes, all of a sudden it like figures you out, and it's magical. I started my swing one. I started with Sinatra. And even though I started thumb downing a lot of Sinatra, I just knew that was a good way to start. Like, okay, Sinatra, figure that out. Give me some Rat Pack in there, and then I'll go up and down. And then I started getting Postmodern Jukebox, and so you eventually, you tune it.
Yeah.
I've always struggled with that question too, when people are like, "What kind of music are you into?" Because, as I said earlier, like I don't remember names and I can't memorize lyrics.
Yeah.
I don't have that ability, but I have realized over the years that I like mellow music.
Gotcha, that's fair.
It's gentle music, and I'm not talking like elevator music.
Right.
So maybe a little more folky or things like that, but I just like some gentle guitar, and we'll take our time and some lyrics and that sort of thing.
I would say folk and soul, you know what I mean? Right, almost R&B, kind of like right in there in that kind of.
Maybe not R&B.
Gotcha.
I'm just not that cool. Probably dial it back to a little more like hipstery type dealy.
See, some people can judge it by what concerts they end up, because like
that's a good,
because a CD you'll spend like a couple bucks, maybe you'll do $1 for a download, but if you're going to a concert, you're spending some money.
That's really good. Or like what concerts came through that you knew that you wanted to go to, and maybe you almost would have gone if you would have been willing to spend like the $30 for a ticket, or actually probably more like 40 or 50,
and that can
ticket
maybe
or the ticket fees or whatever.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that like that's your absolute musical love, what I mean? But it's a variable, you know what I mean, to throw in there. My husband goes to a lot of concerts, and I just go with, that's a lot of energy. That's, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like singing and crying. It's like, there's a lot of people all excited at once. And he went to the U2 concert, and he was showing me one of the songs that he recorded on his phone. And I was almost emotional just watching it on the screen. I'm like, I would be a weeping mess in the middle of that concert, and then feeling bad that I'm crying in front of like thousands of people.
And that's what I went to that. I'm assuming you went the indie one a couple years or whenever that was.
It was like, it was recent. Yeah. And it was a good show.
And I went, and part of the reason why I went was because it was like Joshua Tree specific.
Yes, it was.
U2 era.
And it was video as well as
like
the
video
performance. It was a whole thing.
But if it was just like a U2 concert,
I know, right?
I think they've come through the Midwest before that, like not too long before that, and I just was like, no, I'm not spending $100 on a ticket
because it's
or
expensive.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I just $100 is what popped in my head.
I think it was
when I first started like thinking about how much those tickets were going to cost, or like.
Pink was $100 and came to town, but girl was on a trapeze doing like wire work and stuff. So like, get a show.
Yeah. And like a good friend of mine just went to see Paul McCartney in Wisconsin.
I've seen Paul. Yeah, I got that on my checklist.
And she was like really excited about it, and I was just kind of like, he does a bunch of Wings songs.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to be interested. Or the solo stuff. And she's like, I think he does Beatles music.
Yeah.
I think he actually plays Beatles songs. And like she loved it, and it was like a life-changing experience because I don't think she'd seen him before, and she knew
that is part of the
his time's kind of limited on this earth because
he's getting older. I mean, mortality's a thing.
And there aren't like a lot of Beatles left, so
not so much. So we got two. I like being surprised by an artist that you know. Be like,
hey, always a nice. Like
but that shit is bananas.
That shit is bananas.
I've been sitting over here waiting for it.
Sorry. Do you sing that song every time you write that on your grocery list? Because I do. And I'm like, shit is bananas. It has showed up on the grocery list as phonetically as well, with the dashes in between the letters. And I'm like, so Josh wrote this down singing. I just know it.
Well, that wraps it up for us this week. Join us next week as our next gal pal shares her one cool thing as Gal's Guide to the Galaxy podcast continues. Thanks for listening.
For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gal's Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.